Welcome back to Chakras and Cusswords, you cosmic baddie. Today we are going to talk about Uranus in Gemini, the energy of revolution, the rebellious streak, and even the return of that cosmic trickster in the US's chart. Welcome back to this sacred space where we decode cosmic chaos with a little dose of real clarity. And while this clarity is aligned with the cosmos, we're going to give it a little bit of spunk and attitude so we can see what can possibly be occurring in the future. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most electrifying and controversial transits of our generation, Uranus in Gemini. This is not just another astrology update that feels very basic. This astrology update is one for this generation. Like, in all honesty, we are going to see some changes. This is almost a warning shot from the universe, because every time Uranus dances through Gemini, history doesn't repeat itself. It creates a fucking uproar. And if we are looking at patterns, we have to see what patterns or energy that might reincarnate itself one last time. Could we possibly be talking about a revolutionary war, a civil war, a world war? Well, if you believe in patterns, there is a spark that revolution and areas of breakthrough might be just over the horizon. And everything might change as ideologies clash and divide not just people, but nations. Episode, we will look at the wild timeline of Uranus in Gemini and the three wars that echoed it, why its upcoming transits in 2025 bring such an area of communication and revolution that almost feels like a breakthrough. The shocking historical Uranus and Jupiter conjunctions, and even the energy that bypasses many individuals in this time span. We will also look at the cosmic trickster of that Uranus energy that stores so much movement for this new generation. Could it be AI? Could it be mind wars, miscommunication, or could it be centered around hackers or even cyber wars? New world orders or new revolutionaries? We will only see as time tells. This is the astrology for rebels, big thinkers, and people who are not just centered in looking in the box of what is known as mundane astrology. So go ahead, grab your tea, maybe even your book of tarot, and let's look at how this energy brings some freedom to not just us, but also the whole collective. When there is chaos, there is always shocking change. Let's get into Uranus and Gemini. Uranus in Gemini, could it be the revolution reloaded, the cosmic countdown or showdown of the generation? We are on the brink of historical cosmic pileup. It is like an astrological energy fuck. Yes, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto have all recently aligned and shifted, aligning with signs that echo in revolution, war, and radical transformation. There is a Jupiter and Uranus conjunction that has flared up during major times of the past in areas of the American, from the Revolutionary to the World War. This coincidence seems almost like a karmic pattern. These conjunctions carry the spark of rebellion, bold speeches, and the area of where the paradigm shifts. Could it be a new mark of declaration? Who really knows? But what we have to think about is what will give us that area of freedom, liberty, and chaos for all. Well, automatically I think of Pluto in Aquarius. This energy mirrors the era of the American Revolution. This planet slowly shifted over back to Aquarius, creating some energy that has sparked so many riots, reform, and also breaking of traditional societies, strategies, and confrontations that has been shaking us as a collective. We have been breaking chains and basically coming out of our box as that rebellious and humanitarian nature overwhelms us. Another blast from the past is Neptune in Aries. This energy reflects the dishevel of the energies of the Civil War, where people were against each other, fighting for what was right and what was wrong in the areas of civilization and justice in the United States. Uranus in Gemini has a historical mark on energy of communication, fueled chaos, and of course, the polarity of dualities. The clash of ideas such as the Civil War and World War II. Again, there could also be the energy that is speaking to us from the Revolutionary War. This isn't just a rinse and repeat cycle. There is an energy of evolution and consciousness that speaks to the mind. Uranus is known to be the trickster, the liberator, the one who breaks through when others are too scared. Uranus doesn't knock on the door, it kicks that motherfucker down. This isn't just a beautiful, quaint, polite planet. Uranus is known to be your cosmic awakener. He comes in with lightning bolts and breaking through thoughts that you were programmed to feel were true. Uranus isn't just that one planet that is scared to tear down the fence. It literally breaks walls, liberating us from outdated systems while shaking us with unexpected chaos. When Uranus enters Gemini, he is a supercharge of intellectual mindset, also centered around the area of media, communication, transportation, tech, and even social media. We will really see how the revolution will occur, as Uranus is known to bring people to a collective, like in energies of riots, gangs, and even collective covens. We're talking about real revolutions here, not just meme wars or political debates. We're definitely going to see some moves with AI, politicians, and also society as a whole. As many of us might be on the edge, we have to look at Uranus entering Gemini with a closer insight of what we could possibly expect. I definitely think that communication wars, hackers, cyber wars, AI, and even AI ethic battles are going to continue to unfold. I definitely think with Pluto in Aquarius, this energy is often going to heighten it along with Neptune in Aries. Now that we have Uranus in Gemini, it's almost going to feel like it is undeniable that the area of communication in artificial form is going to be at an all-time high. I was recently looking at a vlog where the lady was talking about farmers in Texas and Florida and how the new immigration reform by President Trump has set a lot of undocumented farmers or workers into a frenzy where they don't feel safe. They're no longer going to the fields. And what's happening is a lot of fields are actually closing and they're not able to get their fields picked. The cows aren't getting milked, and it's just turning into a shit show for a lot of these farmers. I think what's going to happen is the government is going to foreclose some of these farms, and they're also going to keep it where they are the ones beneficiating from the agriculture of the harvesting and also of the dairy farms. I also think this will push more of genetic foods being created, and also the area of where they're going to say that people aren't able to supply the grocery stores anymore with farming because farming has suffered so much. I definitely see this breaking through in the future with more genetically engineered GMO foods that even seem more at an all-time high than what we have right now. And a lot of it is going to be blamed as the lack of resources. Not only is there going to be a war taking place in our communication or in the energy of social media or in the energy of hackers or cyber wars or people who are cyber attacking us, but there's also going to be a demise in the infrastructure of our agricultural lands as well. I think that there's going to be a area of mass media revolutions where we have seen a lot of new journalists come out. People who are centered around mass media, who speak about certain topics and news, and they aren't seen as mainstream media. I think the government is also going to try to suppress this somehow. And there's going to be a generational awareness that not just our freedoms being compromised through the jurisdiction of the presidency and presidents to come, but also our freedoms are being compromised by the art of politicians trying to create its own polished media. And while they try to polish the media to their likings, I also think that this will bring an energy of reprogramming the collective nervous system. And the collective is very nervous about this transit, which of course is undeniable. This is a harsh reality of patterns continuously moving. And a lot of people feel very anxious just in the times that we are living in. But in all honesty, I feel that the collective nervous system has always been triggered by so much energy of trauma that has been inflicted on us from the past and also from the day and age that we are living in now. So as a collective person who is focused on the energy of the collective, I feel that it's also very important for the collective to understand when it is a good time to retreat and when it is a good time for the collective to take breaks in receiving media and also receiving the energy of media that is coming through. And there is definitely an area that feels very tense with this new transit that is occurring. Recently, there was a movement that just occurred, which I personally feel has really awoken the astrology for the US in some elements, and that was Jupiter in Cancer. And I felt like this really kind of started the brewing of the politics. It could be, Trump's back in office. He is definitely somebody who people have a lot of mixed feelings about. He too is also a person with a Uranus in Gemini placement in his chart. And the energy of warfare, the energy of people seeing nations fighting continuously, and also the warfare of the digital age has really kind of enlightened this element that has broken through into new collective processes. And we also see that people are becoming way, way, way more outspoken as Pluto has entered Aquarius. And while people have always had the potential of being very outspoken and being very much centered on that rebellious and revolutionary type nature, as we see the patterns of the past, this goes beyond the energy of just a cosmic reset. This goes beyond the energy of just allowing ourselves to accept what is occurring to us. And Uranus allows us to see that and allows us to speak it even further as Uranus is slowly transitioning over to Gemini. And while the energy might feel very intense, we have to remember that this energy is allowing a cosmic reset. It is allowing us to focus on areas of home, roots, and emotional safety. It's also allowing us to nourish our own energies of these fundamental properties in not just ourselves, but also in our own collective circles. There's definitely a form of revolution to renewal, and this could be a wake-up call from the stars. This could be a cosmic connection for us to buckle up, stand strong, and continue to fight and speak up for what we feel is right. So don't forget to allow yourself that area of energy of seeing it as not just a pattern of history possibly repeating itself in chaos, but as an energy source to create for your own intentions. There is a cosmic collective of reoccurrences. We can't deny it. The conciseness of revolutions and technology has leaped through the years, and a lot of it has to do with the time span that Uranus takes, about 84 years to complete a full cycle. It stays in each zodiac for about 7. Of course, there are retrogrades and areas that can affect that time span. During this time, we have seen global conflicts and communication. Uranus has an 84-year cycle, so of course there's going to be movement. But what we have seen through the energies of the past was back in June of 1941, we had Uranus in Gemini to 1949, June of 1858 to August 1866, June of 1775 to July of 1782. So Uranus hasn't been in Gemini since June of 1949. Let's talk about some of the history that possibly could be repeating itself or becoming reincarnated as Uranus dips back into Gemini. Uranus in Gemini in 1775 to 1782 was the mark of the American Revolutionary War. This transit coincided almost exactly with the American Revolution of 1775 to 1783. Gemini rules communication, media, transportation, and the area of thought. And Uranus, being in Gemini, helped spark the area of independence. And yes, the US had some great revolutionary history during this time, but so did other countries like France and England and so on. So basically, the area of 1775 is where we saw the Revolutionary War begin. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed, and USA has a Uranus in Gemini. While we don't know the actual time of the signing, we do believe that it is in the 7th house. That's what I believe, anyways. In 1777, the Continental Congress adopts the Articles of the Confederation. In 1781, the British General Cornwallis surrenders to Yorktown. In 1782, the preliminary peace talks with Paris. And the themes that enlighten this philosophy and revolution is basically the United States became an independent nation, and the areas of strategy, war, and intellectual birthright of the nation continue to unfold with this energy of this transit. In the next 84 years, Uranus turns back into Gemini. As time has concluded, we are now in an American Civil War, another violent period centered around division, ideology, and communication, as that Uranus rebellious nature kicks full throttle into the area of communication with Gemini. It is literally a split fire of the nation being divided, the national identity of the Gemini's duality playing into key sources of polarity, the energy of north and south, dark and lightness, the energy of feminine and even masculine takes place. These are some of the key events that occurred. In 1858, Lincoln gives his A House Divided speech. This sets the stage for more areas of revolution. In 1860, Lincoln was elected, and the southern states began to succeed by withdrawing from the nation. They wanted to end their membership from the State of the Union. In 1861 to 1865 marked the American Civil War. In 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation occurred. In 1865, Lincoln was assassinated and the war ends. In 1866, the start of the Resurrection Era. The Civil War as a manifestation of Gemini's duality, the radical shifts that only Uranus would bring, the energy of freedom, transportation as the railroads were broken down and made, the communication of telegraphs, Uranus sparking sudden change, often violent, but seen as an everlasting evolution. As time continued to grow further and further, the world and the collective began to grow and even shift. Back in 1941, Uranus re-entered Gemini. This will be the last era that we have seen of Uranus in Gemini. This transit is known for the peak moments of World War II, the break of the dawn of the atomic age. This transit began as the world plunged into World War II and ended drastically with different global order. Some of the key events that took place during this transit was in 1941 when the U.S. enters World War II after Pearl Harbor. It makes you wonder, could there possibly be a big attack on U.S. soil if the patterns in history does repeat itself? What's also interesting about this is in 1941, when Uranus was in Gemini, we also have a big movement of where the US felt invaded. This also makes me think about 9/11 2001, when Jupiter was in Cancer as well. During this upcoming transit, we will have Jupiter in Cancer and we will also have Uranus in Gemini. I highly do feel that there will be some type of attack on U.S. soil. Now, as unsettling as that sounds, it's just based off of the energy of the patterns and the energy of movement and reincarnation of different energies coming back around one last time. Well, hopefully not one last time, but for a time in our lifespan. In 1944, it was D-Day, an Allied invasion in Normandy. In 1945, the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and also Nagasaki. In 1945, the United Nations was founded. 1947, the Cold War began and the CIA was formed. It makes me think that another collective group will be formed as well during this time, possibly by the government or by an energy of opposing government officials here in the US. Could the Uranus in Gemini be creating some home, I guess, almost quote unquote terrorist of people who hate the government and hate the CIA and hate government officials? I definitely think that this Uranus in Gemini energy is bringing up so much revolution and also rebellion that I could definitely see something like this forming again. In 1948, the first computer programs began to run. So what's interesting about this is that we see that there is definitely an era of computers, technology, and the first monumental start. While AI has already been kicked off, I do feel like there is an energy where AI will definitely increase. In 1948, Israel was declared a nation, which is quite interesting because Israel has been centered with a lot of focus lately, especially with everything that is occurring with the Palestinian people and also with Iran, and how the US involvement has been taking place with the mark of not just Israel, but also by having energy around inserting itself in a lot of foreign and geopolitical affairs. The power of science and miscommunication and communication of war and anger continues to move forward. With this transit we saw with Uranus in Gemini in 1941 to 1949, we saw the area of the rise of artificial intelligence in the form of computers, intelligent networks, propaganda, and air warfare, and also the energy of the start of the nuclear age. I think it's very interesting that some of these themes still raise as of today. It also shaped the post-war communication order, including radio, television, and global diplomacy. So what's important for us to understand with this Uranus in Gemini? Every time Uranus transits over to Gemini, we see an area of massive social up level that is tied into communication. If it is from the railroads, the areas of transportation, the area of the telegraph, the area of computers, we can't deny that telecommunication is increased. The radical technological innovation continues with this energy. Also, we see revolutions, both ideological and actual. So I do think revolution will definitely be the theme as we have not just Uranus in Gemini, but also Aquarius and a Pluto as well. We see the division that becomes war, then the progress, and then the area of reset. With new ways of transportation, also with new ways of informing the collective, and also the energy of networks. Uranus moving over to Gemini makes me think of all the things that could possibly happen. Could it be AI increasing its foundation here? Could it also be the area of media revolutions, cognitive war, disinformation, or deep fakes, or even mass manipulation? I keep waiting for some type of alien invasion. Could this possibly be happening while Uranus is in Gemini? Or is it all a hoax that was created by the government? The breakdowns in communication, system of interventions, and geopolitical tensions continue to rise, sparking the areas of society wanting to revolt. The rapid progress in space and neutral networks and quantum computing can almost seem out of this world, but it is happening, and Uranus in Gemini is definitely going to heighten and bring unexpected events to rewrite history. Whatever occurs, we're definitely going to be here for the ride, and we should look at how Uranus's basic overall foundation affects us. Uranus transit is basic. It's basically in a orbital period for about 84 years to complete a full cycle through the zodiac. It spends about 7 years. Of course, there's retrogrades that could increase its livelihood in that celestial body up to about 5 months, if not more, which can stretch the time to make Uranus in that celestial being just a little bit longer. So while honestly we have no choice but to ride this Uranus in Gemini sound wave, there is some truth that we could look at. Uranus in Gemini is coming. If we like it or not, we are here. Ready or not, It's knocking on the door or kicking that motherfucker down. But here's the magic behind it. You don't have to be afraid of the chaos. We learn from chaos and we actually strive in it. Most of us do quite well with some obstacles. This 7-year transit isn't just about disruption. Well, maybe a little bit of fucking disruption. I mean, didn't Jesus knock the fucking table down? It's about awakening. The Gemini is the sign of the mind and of communication, the duality of the twins, the spirit of movement, here, Earth, the other realms. And Uranus, well, Uranus, it's that trickster that cracks me up like a lightning bulb. It almost is kind of like that energy of your little brother who just seems to get in the way, but you love them so much. Together, they are rewriting how we speak, think, learn, even move, and reconnect with each other. We can use this energy to benefit us. I know it seems crazy, but let's be fucking honest. Shit is changing if we like it or not. It's time for us to innovate our mind. Time for us to learn some new skills. Dive into the emerging technology that is awaiting for us. Could it be AI, or learning how to code some new digital software, or learning how to create some storytelling? Don't reset to the future, but become a translator of it. Be centered in creating the new collective space that so many of us will go to when it is time to retreat. Master your own nervous system. I'll be honest, this transit has me feeling a little bit anxious. And while Gemini rules the nervous system, Uranus is the sign that can help us feel more centered on taking this overload to the max, where we're saying, look, I need a fucking break. I need to break through with some new energy surrounded by me. I mean, if you are rebellious, I feel like you are a little bit centered on me, right? So it is a good time for us to learn breath work, also take it back to the energies that we knew of the past, such as grounding, getting centered with our ancestral roots, also being centered around intuitive practices, learning to turn that chaos into clarity. Remember, when we are self-aware, we know what to expect. We can feel the energy of our intuition speaking to us and allowing our body to respect and also reset. Speak your truth. This is really the area of Uranus in Gemini, is speaking your truth. Your voice, your opinion, your thoughts, all of it matters. Even if we disagree, even if you see things differently, your voice, your opinion, your thoughts all matter. This is a revolution of time for the independent nature, for the independent person, for the truth teller, for the area of independent media, for the podcaster, for the journalist, for the thought leader. This is your energy to really shine and break through, and to also see that you're no longer holding anything back. You're letting people hear you, feel you, and fucking see you. It's time for you to be heard, felt, and acknowledged. Allow yourself to create those connections. Also, it is a perfect time for you to build new connections, especially with social circles. And while media is on the rise, you can also create interpersonal circles within your community, collaborators, also creating those community shifts, but also getting outdated with some of the narratives that you don't have to align with others, right? Yes, we do naturally align with other people, and a lot of us like that presence of communication and socialization and collective circles that Uranus brings. It is centered around the area of minds are stronger together when they are in a collective formation. They often say we're stronger in numbers. Be ready for some disruption. Be ready to acknowledge there's going to be some collective circles you don't get along with. Be ready to understand and also choose to transform away from these collective circles. Also understand that you don't have to be around people that you don't like. Uranus doesn't destroy just the energy of movement, but it also destroys the energy to allow us to liberate, to allow us to create a more clearer conscious state around our self-awareness. It is the clearing of the pathway of what is next. So stay open, stay curious, and stay adaptable. Remember, people who can adapt are people who can survive. It's the evolution. It's the energy of movement. The ones who thrive in Uranian times, the areas of the rebellion, are also the ones who embrace change. While change is hard and it seems so taunting, when we embrace change, we have that energy of adaptability. So we close out with understanding that you were born for this moment. I know, it sounds fucking wild, right? But you were born for the energy of Uranus and Gemini. While it might not be easy and it might not be a blissful cloud like Neptune and Pisces, it's definitely transformational. And we're here for the ride together. You're going to come out, you're going to see that it's going to be all right. We're more going to be aligned, we're going to be awakened, and we're going to be unapologetic. We are going to be who we are meant to be on our rebellious nature. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. And please share this episode with your witchy bestie. Everybody have an amazing day, and I can't wait to see what shitstorm comes with Uranus and Gemini. Bye.